Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are with the final race of the regular season of the Area 51 Superspeedway Xfinity Series. I'm Carl Henderson. I'm here with Josh Laston, and excited to bring you this race. Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Looking forward to some super speedway racing. I mean, I'm giving up watching a plate race to watch a plate race. But you
Yeah,
know
man,
what? It's more fun to call it.
I agree, and I'm really excited about this race. We'll be pulling up the points in just a little bit, but that battle for the top 12, it's tight right now. We've got a lot of guys that could potentially get in. I think we're gonna have a really exciting race because of that.
And it's always great when we have a relatively long season. It's the 8th race, if I remember correctly. And we still have intrigue in the points. We're still going to have some guys that could punch their ticket into the playoffs tonight. And I'm hoping to see some racing that shows that little bit of desperation.
Yeah, desperation. Obviously, you want everyone to stay clean. I'm hoping for a green flag race. Let's pull up our race info here. Take a look. 75 laps here tonight at Talladega. I've heard that the fuel window is 23 laps, which would make it, likely a 3-stop race.
Well, and that's 3 stops if we stay green.
Yeah, obviously could end up with all sorts of stuff. And we've already got someone in the comments cheering for Mr. Bogart here. Let me see if he is out on track yet. We'll go and run James Mohan right now. But no, Bogart isn't on track yet. But he is one of the guys in championship contention, or top 12 contention, I should say, for the chase. And I'll pull up those points here in just a little bit as we get done with qualifying. But right now, looking at James Mohan on his qualifying attempt. See, he is right down on that yellow line, double yellow line. Coming around the tri-oval onto that start-finish line that is a little offset from the front, and we'll see where he comes out. He's currently
first
on the board.
One to finish the lap, and immediately after that, Austin Call comes through. A little bit slower, Larry Fairman a little bit behind. That's actually a really good lap.
Yeah, that's a solid lap from James Mohan there. It's not often I pick the person who sets the fastest lap so far. Yeah, so let's see who's on track here. I've got to get rid of this over here.
And Gary Jenkins takes that top spot by 1/100th of a second.
Yep, that's Gary Jenkins. Just took the top spot. Man, that was tight. I'm sitting at 90 Lightning McQueen car.
I love how people can adapt just the most random.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Of concepts to iRacing.
Oh, Dean Wilkinson coming in second. Did he? Oh, he set basically the same lap time as Gary Jenkins there. At least on my timing and scoring showing as identical.
And that's what I'm seeing, and it just means that Gary Jenkins said it first.
Yep. Dude Conrad sitting in 4th. Hey, here's Jason Bogart, who we had a shout out there for. And he sits in at 11th, and nothing wrong with that. That's, obviously these sorts of races, you want to have the clean kind of finish, especially as tight as he is in points right now. So, take a look. See, I don't think anyone is currently on the track qualifying.
Dude Conrad out?
Nope. Oh, well, no, he's not actually running any laps.
No, he's just there.
So while we're waiting here, let's take a look at our points. And again, we can go through the top. First is Ryan Decker, second Eric Laurie, third is Dude Conrad, tied with Bud Steele. 5th, Dean Wilkinson, and 6th, Gabe Butler. 7th, Austin Call. 8th, Brandon Briggs. 9th, Brian Wang. 10th, Gael Brooks. 11th, William Bogart, Jason Bogart. Also tied with him, Jimmy Pyland. And that's your top 12 right there, currently. But, looking guys right there that are right outside, Hondo Longmire, who is not in tonight, sitting in 13th, very much could have been in the mix, but look like he will be out of it. Larry Fairman, who is here tonight, potentially someone we got to keep an eye on. Frank Ranger Jr., someone to keep an eye on. Jim Brooks, not out of this. Kevin Freese, not out of this. So we got a lot of guys here who have a chance, if they have good finishes tonight, could shuffle things up. And I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Well, and it could just be as simple as it not being a good finish, but a clean finish with how the point system works in this league.
Well, let's run through our our qualifying order. Gary Jenkins in first, Dean Wilkinson in second, in third, James Mohan, and in fourth, Dude Conrad. Fifth is Tom Dixon, sixth is Eric Laurie, seventh, Ryan Decker, and in eighth, Austin Call. Ninth is Nick Wing, and in 10th, Mark Emery. 11th, Jason Bogart, and in 12th, Larry Fairman. Is that all of them? No, that can't be all.
No, we've got 13.
It's
13th is
Hold on. Yep, go ahead.
Frank Ranger Jr. 14th is Gabe Butler. 15th, Seth Groover. 16th is Taylor Reeves. 17th is Gael Brooks. 18th is Jim Brooks. 19th, Bob Fitzgerald. 20th is Brandon Briggs. And rounding out the field tonight is Kevin Freese in 21st.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It wasn't letting me scroll there. That was weird. So we're getting gridded up here. But while we're waiting on the grid, let's just say something about our sponsor here. This broadcast is brought to you by 40 Racewear, the makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way that no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stunts. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Well, I am certainly excited about this one, Laston, as we are getting rolled off here. Dean Wilkinson, Gary Jenkins up front. What are you expecting here tonight, Laston?
I'm hoping that we can keep it nice and calm, keep the entire group together until we get to the pit stops. I appreciate running with these guys like I have. Some of these guys are just absolutely amazing at green flag pit stops. I don't like it when we have green flag pit stops with this group because I know I'm going to lose them.
Well, especially those boot knocker guys. I mean, you've got not the usual suspects out there as normal, but we definitely have quite a few guys out there from boot knocker. Dude Conrad, Kevin Freese is here.
Kevin,
yeah.
they're all here.
Yeah. So, and those guys are
their skill. But
yeah, they're impeccable at pit stops. It's crazy.
It's just a matter of I don't like it because then I have no chance at winning.
Well, let's be honest. You probably don't have a chance at winning it.
I don't.
Well, I also have to call out. We've got Caitlin Decker out there cheering for Ryan Decker, someone we've kept an eye on quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure. Honestly, the past 2 weeks have gone by in a blur, but I think he had a pretty good finish 2 weeks ago. So
I'm just looking forward to the fact that it's time for the pace car to go ahead and peel off, and we're going to get ourselves some bumper-to-bumper racing and 75 laps of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited about this. Obviously, they will have to start a little bit later due to where that start-finish line is, but pace car is pulling off. See some guys, and I'm sorry, I'm having some issues here. Last time I'm about to cut you off here. I don't know what's going on.
That's fine. Just gotta not know who you're watching. But the green flag is out, and they are off, heading towards turn 1. And it's looking like that outside line may have just a little bit of extra momentum. I'm not really sure it's going to be able to be upheld since there's 3 on that low line doing a fantastic job. Lock in step, and now the outside line's starting to form up, but maybe a little bit too late.
Well, you say that, but it's crazy how much momentum can change things here. They form up and suddenly you get a good run and everything can change in a hurry. But we'll have to see right now as that outside line lets have a slight advantage. Obviously, in the entry of that corner, the inside lane is going to take the lead, but we'll see on the outside here who's going to be able to lead this lap.
And that's important, especially if you are in one of these playoff fights. That's one extra point there, and it's looking like Dean Wilkinson may be able to pull it off. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is going to lead our first lap, and there's a bonus point for the Canadian.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's someone who I think is, if I'm not mistaken, pretty solid in the points. Yeah, he's sitting in 5th, but every point you can get, you definitely want to have it to really secure that spot.
Well, and again, the other big thing is clean races. We're seeing a few people get a little too close to the bumper of somebody that is not the leader of the line. It looks like we have somebody that may be looking to go out to that third line, but falls right back in.
Yeah, someone dropped down to the apron there. That was the 411 of Tom Dixon briefly dropping to the apron. That was, sure it was on the tri-oval, so not as dangerous, but still made my heart race a little bit.
I mean, it's early in the race. These guys shouldn't be going all that hard, but I also don't blame them if they, get a little dicey.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
It makes our job far more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The outside line, that 8 of Dude Conrad's getting an amazing push from Eric Laurie, and that's going to get him up a little bit farther on that outside line. But again, that shorter distance on the inside is going to keep Dean Wilkinson at the front of this pack. Well, and of course, then the outside line fights back.
Well, that's how it's going to happen. We're going to see a lot of that back and forth over and over as the guys go back and forth. Trying to work out where they are, and we're going 3 wide up here. It's a little earlier than I'd like to see that, but Talladega's wide enough. I think they can work.
Well, and it's also, who's at the second car in line there? That's Seth Groover. Of course, they're going 3 wide.
I hadn't seen Seth out here in a while. Good to see him. Love racing with that guy.
I could only tell because he's back to running the Yoshi car truck.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what,
that's iconic for me.
Seth Groover, huge fan of Chris Oliver, massive fan.
Yes, unfortunately, both Carl and I have been in race chats with Seth.
Little
they keep it clean. But now there's Seth going up there to just be like, no, let's make them pay by passing them.
Yeah, let's go. Seth isn't gonna, especially Seth is not in contention for the points. So he doesn't. It's gonna sound awful. He doesn't care about a clean finish. He cares about just going out there and running well and having fun doing it. So yeah, I mean he's gonna go for it. Why not?
He's a very aggressive racer, and that's part of the reason why I love running around him, because you could do stupid things, and he's going to go along for the ride.
Yeah.
3 wide at Atlanta? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But it looks like everybody's just going to go ahead and settle in. We may see the occasional move like we just saw Dean Wilkinson just kind of slide up there a little bit, try to kill the momentum on the outside line, but there's Eric Laurie just getting the amazing push, and it looks like both of them are going to be able to slot up here, but then Eric Laurie just drops down and leaves Ryan Decker out to dry.
Yeah. And Ryan's going to, well, I mean, he's got a little bit of help up there now. I mean, that's, you're going to want some more people up there, but right now it's looking like the leaders are pretty content with just keeping lined up on the bottom.
Well, and they should just keep swapping leaders to make it to where we have a reasonable amount of... Well, everyone ends up on roughly the same fuel strategy. to where, I mean, Gael Brooks running at the very back. Of course, he's going to try to fuel save and make it to where it's only a 2-stopper because that's what he does.
Yeah, he already told us he was going to do that, right? So, no surprise there. Gael Brooks going for it. No idea if it's going to work out for him. I think that's an awful lot to save, but we'll see. If he can stay in the draft, might be able to make it work.
I'm just kind of curious why we're seeing a few guys just slowly drop back on that outside line, because we've got a gaggle going on back there as we've got a 2-car tandem looking to push their way up to the front. That's Austin Call and Ryan Decker, and that is some movement and momentum that they've got going there. They may be able to make that work going through, and I can't tell if that's, what, 3 and 4?
Yeah, we're that was 2. That was turn 2 right there.
Yeah, I don't have a map.
Sorry, apologies. I'm gonna try to fix that if we get a caution.
Oh, don't worry about it.
But yeah, I think
I've got a good enough view.
You're talking about the guys dropping back because we are getting a little bit tighter now. But I have to wonder if it was just getting a little too dicey, and some guys are just like, that's too much for me right now.
And then we are where we are to where it's getting dicey. All the way up at the front, you would almost think we were coming to the end of a stage here.
Yeah, Ryan Decker, Austin Call here, racing real hard. Austin Call in front.
Seth Groover coming around on the outside. He's got Nick Wegg right there on his bumper, so we're going to be 3 wide at the front of this race. And this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Oh, Austin Call down low. Or, no, that's not Austin Call. Sorry. That was Dean Wilkinson.
You know what? Probably just wanting to save it because, yeah, if we're going 3 wide, that is something I generally try to avoid.
Yeah, no, I think there's a chance that he may have just gotten loose himself or pushed down to the apron. Whatever reason, I think he ended up on the apron. He checked up and, wisely just dropped to the back. So we got Austin Call up here on the high side and Seth Groover on the middle line. They've kind of switched around, but Austin Call's got no one behind him.
For a moment there. And yeah, that's there is no amount of Flex Seal that's going to be able to fix a wreck if we wreck 4 wide.
No doubt. These guys do have 1 fast repair, so there is some degree of Flex Seal that'll work. Yeah, I'm
still going green. We're on lap 10, and it's a hornet's nest up here at the front, but as you drop back, there's guys just keeping in touch with the draft, looking to make sure if something goes wrong up here. And there we go. There's the 4 wide with Nick Wing falling back on that outside line.
Yeah, well, I am going to, I have to apologize to everyone. I'm going to pause here for just a second. We are having some major video issues. I'm not sure what's happening, so I'm actually going to cut over to the intro scene for just a second. Apologies, everyone, but I'll try to get us back here as quickly as possible. All right, apologies for that, everyone. We're going to see if it runs a little better this time. Not quite sure what's going on there, but some graphic settings having some issues. But we see up here Seth Gruber leading the pack.
I mean, on the bright side, when we had to cut away, it was a relatively calm period. Yeah, Seth Gruber managed to get himself up to the front of this race, but we're just running 2x2, and James Mohan is getting himself up to the front with a large push from Tom Dixon. But again, we're relatively calm. We are coming up on pit stops soon. And then the question is going to be, is everybody just going to run it dry if they can? Or are they going to try to split it nice and...
Well, for me, it depends on when people are coming in. I mean, I think I'm going to try to time it. You don't want to go in by yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how these kinds of tracks work. And honestly, I've raced around a lot of these guys already. They're running it dry.
Yeah, I think most people will try to get it as far as possible because you never know when a caution's going to come out.
Well, and it's the right call in this situation. But we are coming up to the point where we're going to find out if our buddy and boss, Gael Brooks, is managing to actually save something.
Yeah, we're getting really close to that. Yeah, I mean, I think we're, 6-7 laps away from finding out.
I wouldn't even say that far. I think some of these guys, with how hard they've been pushing, I look at somebody like, well, Seth Gruber. Sitting there in third, he is now officially at the point where he's just coasting along. But the fight he had to get himself up into that third place, I'm not 100% positive that he's going to have enough fuel to make it.
Yeah, I think, this is one of those situations where, being the leader is not necessarily something you want, right? But if everybody decides to stay out longer and try to push it, you may have to come in by yourself, and suddenly you come out by yourself and you have no draft.
Well, as we see the O2 pop out of line and look to get a little bit of help from Brandon Briggs and see if he can get himself up to the front of this pack once again, because why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously you talk about fuel strategy, and we see the 42 up there trying to make something work up high with 55 behind him. Some of these guys I'm looking at, like, let's see here, Larry Fairman in that 11 car running in 11th. Someone like Frank Ranger Jr. in 16th. Like, these guys are got to be thinking, like, I need to have a good finish, and I'm also racing around some of these guys that I'm trying to, finish ahead of in points to try to make that top 12.
Again, we've got quite a few laps.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect to see too much crazy at this point. But we've kept it green.
Honestly, I think, it's, the classic saying, cautions lead to cautions, which is 100% true. But I also think that you start having long green flag runs, and you also start thinking, like, okay, well, I'm not gonna gain any positions by passing people who wrecked. So I've got to start trying to move through this field, and obviously, if you move through the field now, you're not going to necessarily finish there. But you're starting to think through, like, okay, I've got to see what I can do. I've got to see who I can work with. So I guarantee
there is our caution.
Oh.
That looked just like a little bit bad of a spotter call there.
Looks like Frank Ranger Jr. was involved. Let's see if we can take a look at it. It is not on. Was it Frank Ranger that...
I remember I'm running blind for what.
Yeah, I am not seeing anything here where it says that the yellow flag came out. And it's not showing anybody. Oh, there it is. Okay, now finally things have popped in. Okay, so I see a Taylor Reeves. Let's see here. Taylor Reeves in that 42 running the middle line, the Hess car. He's coming a little high. Emery's out there to his outside, but so far we're clean. No, look like he decided he was going to try to get up to the high line and got right into Emery there. We'll take one more look. I'm going to switch over to our rear chase just to get an idea. I typically don't use this camera, but I'd like to see, really, I don't think there's any other camera angle that will.
Honestly, while you're getting that set up, my personal view, that was just the draft sucking the 42 up into the 49.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was a combination of things, because looking at it from the rear, originally it looked like the 42 had come up all on his own, but there was a little bit of meeting in the middle to a degree. 42 definitely came up more, but then there also might have been a degree of netcode there.
Well, and that's why, like I said, it looks like the draft package may have kind of brought them together to where nobody was really like trying to take over a lane. It just happened to be wrong place, wrong time. But this is going to make it to where everybody's going to come into the pits.
Yeah.
So there goes the fuel mileage race.
Yeah. But yeah. There it goes.
To where that's far too early for somebody to be able to really stretch it. We still have 2 stops after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
No level of saving is going to help.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do there. That is just the way it is. But I mean, to a degree, I think that makes things a little more interesting in some ways, because now guys are going to go for it. I mean, there's just no trying to save now.
And that's exactly it. Is now we're, again, unfortunately, this is kind of playing into my entertainment, in that, honestly, all of these guys, now there's no saving.
Yeah.
You've got to start making your moves.
Yeah, 100%. I think, especially, I mean, we'll see. I think that for some of these guys, they've seen how it's played out, and you're definitely going to want to start to see how you can work with people, who you can work with. And I think with everybody packed up like this, I think you're going to see some action here shortly.
That's what we all came here for.
Yeah, and I'm wondering. I'm looking at pit times. Trying to figure out some stuff here, because this is looking a little weird to me. So top 3 obviously did not pit. That's Nick Wing, Brandon Briggs, Kevin Freese. At least it's not showing that they pitted to me. Are they showing that they pitted to you?
I'm seeing the same thing.
Oh, they're pitting now. They're pitting now. Okay. So maybe just trying to get a lap lead there. Easy lap lead. And actually, everybody's coming back in top off. Maybe not everybody, but a large portion of the field coming back in top off, which is not a bad call at all. They're not going to make it to the end, but again, they're just trying to push it as far as they can. Oh, Bob Fitzgerald there slams into the wall, getting into his pits.
Honestly, that's something I've never done.
I
have had many errors on pit road.
You have.
That is one that's new.
Yeah. But looking at pit times, which, I mean, this has now messed it all up, but it looks like some people took 2 tires, some people took 4. Although I would have imagined you would be topping off with fuel, so. But yeah, pit times are definitely different for a lot of these people. So, but I'll tell you who I'm looking at right now is that 11 car of Larry Fairman. We know this guy can run, and he has had. He's right there on the bubble. Has had some good finishes recently, so I'm looking at Larry Fairman. I'm not saying he's going to win the race, but he's someone I'm looking at as he's going to be pushing there at the end, trying to get a good finish.
And he's put himself in the exact perfect position for it.
Yeah, I mean, he is running in standings. He's 14th. So he is, what? Trying to look at points here. 126. Coming into this race, he was 4 points behind Jason Bogart and Jimmy Pylan. So, and Jimmy Pylan's not here. So Fairman's set himself up really well to make himself in this top 12.
And that's the best part about these plate tracks. You don't need, well, you need luck. You need some skill, don't get me wrong. But you also need the cards to fall exactly as you need them.
Well, we've got the pace car has pulled in here. I'm going to switch to our blimp view. We've only got 3 cars on the outside as everyone else is lined up on tail end of the longest line. And those 3 cars are pretty spread out. And actually, everyone's spread out. This is a pretty crazy start. We're going to probably see some massive runs here.
But we're seeing that 0-2 of Seth Groover do a fantastic job trying to hold on, but he's going to lose those 2 teammates in James Mohan and Tom Dixon. If he's smart, he's going to go ahead and close that. Oh, never mind. They're just going to go ahead and pick him up and open up for 3 wide going into turn 3. That
not quite. They're going to stay in line, it looks like. As not quite the huge momentum swing that I was expecting. With typically when you see those guys space out like that, you'll a lot of them see someone make a huge run, and then you'll see a crazy wreck. But we didn't have that there, thankfully.
And yeah, these guys are great at running these tracks, so I wouldn't expect too much crazy, but I also know that these kinds of tracks just breed crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the tracks we've seen the most issues on so far this season are Atlanta and iRacing Superspeedway. Those are the tracks that these guys have had the least experience on. So really no huge surprise. But Talladega, Daytona, no issue.
Well, Atlanta, because it's a mile and a half into racing like this. And iRacing Superspeedway, these cars hit, what, 240?
240, and then that, and also Matt Wagner will have you know that it is a 3-mile track. I don't know if anyone was aware of that. But that corner entry is just so violent. Whereas here, I mean, honestly, like, if you're someone like running back in the back, just trying to conserve, just try to have a good finish, like, you're just kind of coasting. Like, I know a lot of people try to say that NASCAR is just about driving in circles, and if you're someone that's coasting back in the back here, it's kind of what it is.
But it is generally a fair assessment. But what we're seeing is those guys that are really good at driving in circles. We've got Kevin Freese at the front of this line. We've got Gabe Butler, who, names we haven't talked about this entire race, but we generally talk about when we're broadcasting this series. Well, there they are.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Freese has missed a couple of races this season, which is where he's at, why he's where he is in the points. But certainly not out of this. Gabe Butler in a solid position in the points, but Kevin Freese can be looking for a good finish here if he wants to make that top 12.
Well, and now with all of the Bootnaka guys making their way up here, slowly kind of crunching a few guys out of the way, to where now we've got Gabe Butler at the front, Kevin Freese right behind him, prepared for them to take over.
Yeah, no surprise here. They say that we've seen it over and over. These guys just kind of soared up to the top. It sometimes takes a few laps, but here they are. No surprise here.
But they are not going to have just the easiest time. Tom Dixon, he is linked up with Dean Wilkinson, and they are just going to do everything they can to try and, you know what, keep these Bootnaka guys, keep them honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, I think these kind of races, you can't control everything. You go somewhere like a traditional intermediate. You can kind of control things. You're the fastest guy out there, no problem. But here, you can't control everything. So you've just got to control what you're able to control and just keep yourself in position and out of trouble, and then hope for the best.
Well, and we're back to seeing the constant leapfrogging. From that outside line, somebody's going to go ahead. They're going to get pushed to the front of the pack. They're going to slot down into that low line and rinse, repeat.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that over and over. As it seems like, I mean, for the most part, guys are not really pushing that hard right now. We're not seeing a lot of that, super heavy bumper contact. Like, guys seem like they're pretty chill right now, kind of settling in for the long run.
Well, everybody except for the one person that I would expect. That 0-2 keeps getting right up there on the 55.
Oh, yeah, well, Seth wants to go. He's not messing around.
He wants to be that next one in position to be pushed to the front.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen it over and over out of Seth. I mean, it's just, he doesn't race dirty, but I mean, he does race aggressive. Yeah, he is right there on him. But we look at that.
And there's the slot down to the low line.
Yeah. So Seth's there. He just needs to get that 8 car of Dude Conrad to push him, and we know Dude can push. Seth's going to try to get there as well. And we'll just keep seeing it happen over and over.
And then right behind him's Eric Laurie, and Eric Laurie is probably a little too close for comfort, in my opinion, there. But, again, he's one of those people that, you know what? Now it's Dude's turn.
Yeah, we'll see here. We're going to go in car with Dude Conrad, and we'll see, see what he's doing. Obviously he's just got a little bit of a gap here to make up, 2 cars on that inside in front of him. But obviously you'll see, as they enter the corner, that inside line is going to have the advantage, but it's going to be on exit. If he can get a good push on exit, that's where the advantage will happen for the outside line. You can see it already there.
And again, Eric Laurie, you got to go ahead, get himself up close enough to get that Chevy moving a little bit faster than the Toyota on that bottom line. And the big person that's going to be important here is actually Gary Jenkins in that 90, making sure he's giving them every bit of help. Kevin Freese is jumping up there. These guys are just swapping positions.
Yeah, I mean,
most of them pitted on lap 21, which means we're going to about 44, 45 before we're going to start seeing pit stops. But I think the bigger problem that we may be running into, they're starting to get a bit bigger of a gap between this front group that's fighting and the back.
Yeah, certainly. There's a bit of a gap here. I'm going to try to pull up to the blimp view so we can take a look at it. But yeah, there's 4 guys back there. Bob Fitzgerald, Mark Emery, Frank Ranger Jr., Taylor Reeves. Those guys are flirting with losing the draft there.
Yeah, we're talking about a half a second. In all honesty, the danger point at this track is about 0.8. And then the I'm in trouble is 1 second.
Well, I think they just hurt us because they closed up that gap quite a bit.
Well, then, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we still got Mark Emery, Taylor Reeves back there kind of battling a little bit. You want to be real careful doing that because that's the easiest way to lose the draft.
And sometimes in these kinds of races, and not necessarily on super speedways, but you have fun racing the people that you're around.
Oh, 100%.
Because, Carl, how often are we actually racing for wins, but we have a blast racing one another?
Well, you speak for yourself. I race for wins all the time. I race for wins every race I'm in. Didn't say I actually succeed. But look at this. Dude Conrad here. We talked about the shuffle and how the guy on the outside keeps trying to shuffle to the front. And Dude was hoping it was his turn. And we've got a third line that's formed. And it's kind of stalled out that middle line because they've only got 3 cars.
Well, the third line has 3 cars, but They seem to be a little more in unison, and that's going to be helpful, even though, right as I say that, that's when Kevin Freese drops down a little bit. But we've seen it multiple times that in the right circumstances, with the right pusher, 2 cars can be faster than 4.
Well, we just had Mark Emery come in the pits. I'm assuming that is not a scheduled pit stop. I'd imagine that is possibly some sort of damage. Because fuel strategy-wise, I don't know how it would make sense to come in now, especially considering you're coming out by yourself. But everyone else currently on the track.
And honestly, this is quite the long pit stop to where I'm not 100% sure that, there's a chance that could be him calling it a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's over 40 seconds at this point in his box. The only thing I could figure is that's
it's game over.
That's him just going to go ahead and park it and go watch the race in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, we see there, we were looking at that suspension camera there, and it looked like Duke Conrad was going to mount a charge, and may still be able to, as we see that 55 Dean Wilkinson get on the apron a little bit. Thought that might kill some momentum, but he seems to still be on the bumper of Seth Gruber there.
Yeah, but it also looks like it was just enough to where maybe, but no, Duke Conrad, he's going to be able to lead this lap, but it's not going to be that low line that's going to be his problem.
Yeah, look at that outside line. Gabe Butler getting a huge run there, and I mean, again, not surprising on the exit of corners and entry. We see Seth Gruber, so much speed, but it's that the exit where the outside's going to have the advantage. But Gruber able to get a good run there on the exit.
But every time we see these guys coming out of the turns, it's that third line and it looks like Mark Emery actually makes his way out of the pits.
Okay, several laps down, I think, at this point. But yeah, I mean, you can go out there and try to finish what you can. Hey, you probably spent an hour practicing. Like, why not come out here and try to finish it?
I am one of those people that I will fix whatever repairs I can. It's not until the car's terminal that I am done.
Well, we can see him up on that high line, which is not something you want to see when you're 3 wide. But everyone gets through without incident. That's very clean racing there by everyone.
But it definitely did throw that third line into a little bit of chaos. Make it to where they're now having to battle back. But the thing to note is the front 2 on that outside line and the front 2 on the middle line, they're all teammates. They're talking. They know exactly what each other are doing. Even if Kevin Freese does just keep dropping down.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to get what little speed he can, and then hopefully translate it to a push. Nothing wrong there, but looks like we switched to 2 wide here. Looks like 3 wide has gone away for the most part. I have to wonder if people are starting to think through coming into the pits.
And that's where my brain is. I would say that the pit window's open right now, and for the next 6 laps, you got to be thinking, okay, I need to get down to that low line, or am I going to be able to survive long enough for everyone below me to make their way in?
Well, this is something we've discussed before as teammates last in and on Superspeedway tracks like this, and it's going to sound a little mean, but if you're one of those guys on the inside, your job here is to keep it as tight as possible, because you want to force those guys on the outside to go behind you. It's honestly sort of like driving in real life, There's a lane closure. I'm not going to let you in front of me. Come on, man.
Oh, you're that guy.
I mean, hey, now we can talk about that for hours. I have very strict, I have a code of conduct around that. But no,
but you are 100% correct.
Yeah.
If I can make it to where unfortunately, you look at Duke Conrad. He has been up on that top line at the front basically since Seth Groover made his way up to the front of this race.
Yeah.
He's going to be hurting for fuel, and everyone below him can make it to where he kind of ends up hurting for fuel to the point where he's clutching it and coasting into his pit box.
Yeah. Duke Conrad's kind of being held hostage right now, and the thing he has to be hoping for the most is that Seth Groover is also struggling for fuel. And if Seth has to start conserving, and look, Duke Conrad gets to the front there. I'm not sure if it was because some people dropping down. I thought we were about to have some.
I think that was a little bit of that was a little too close to Seth's bumper.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be on the apron when things go awry.
Yeah, that was tight, but clean. Let's see, Eric Laurie trying to do the same. He's desperate. Kevin Freese getting on his bumper. Kevin Freese gets him clear. That's exactly what these guys need to do, except Kevin Freese is in a bad position now.
I'm not enjoying how often these guys are putting tires over that yellow line.
Yeah.
This is making me a little anxious.
I've been anxious now for about the past 5 laps, but
it looks like that second line is starting to form up. We've got a massive push on that outside, and that looks like 48 Ryan Decker, and he's got help. And is that the 71?
That is the 71.
That is Gael Brooks. Yeah, there's no fuel save right now. It's just go time.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That's something I never see from him.
Well, Gael's going to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So if anyone is fuel saving at this point, he's like, "Oh, I'm going." But we see that 49 of Mark Emery, who was a lap down in the middle there. Not doing anything wrong. But obviously is, I'm not going to say a roadblock, but, is making it to where people are having to, we'll say, work around him. But not doing anything wrong there, keeping it clean. But we see the 8 and Eric Laurie there working really well together. And Team Wilkinson across that apron again, still making me nervous.
Yeah, that is not something you want to be seeing, especially...
We got pit stops.
And we have the first wave, and that is the Boot Knocker guys making their way into pit road. And that's going to open up the door to where, actually, right now, Mark Emery getting his lap back, running at the front of this. And that's good for him. Seth Groover going to get right up there on the bumper, see if he's not able to just keep him at the front there. But Ryan Decker right now and Gael Brooks, they are currently our hostages because just over half the field went in right there.
Hey, we got a comment out there from Bud Steele. It says, "Go Team Roswell, Decker and Call. Missing racing tonight, but went to Maine to eat lobster." Bud, if you're watching, what part of Maine are you in? I'm from the South, but I love Maine. Portland, Maine, somewhere I've been to a lot. Great lobster up there. Agree 100%.
I'm not a seafood person.
Oh, well, you're wrong.
I'm not gonna knock it because, whatever. Everybody likes their own things. But yeah, I take my wife to those places to where she can eat. To where we just came back from coastal North Carolina, and it was oysters. That was what was everywhere.
Oh yeah, 100% North Carolina, and something I'm looking at the map up here, which I find interesting, not surprising, but interesting, is you look at that map on the top right there, and there are a lot of guys spread out right now as different people come in different speeds. As we've got Gael Brooks, Nick Wing, Larry Fairman in without incident. No problems there for those guys. New leader is Mr. Ryan Decker.
Well, and I see those Boot Knocker guys making their way flying past Seth Groover. And this is what's going to end up happening to close this field up is, as people cycled through, went in at different times, as long as they were within, like, close to about a half a second, they should be able to hang on to one another.
Yeah, and that's the big, you gotta be within a half second and have some momentum. I mean, if you just come out of the pits and you're like, oh, I'm half a second behind, and you get no momentum, that's not gonna be enough. But, you know, I'm looking at field spread out, and we've seen this before, where if we stay spread out like this is a boot knocker race to lose. As we see Guile Brooks here trying to hang on, but he's going to lose position to these boot knocker guys who have the momentum. Guile's just so much slower right now, drops back to 7th.
And he's still in a reasonably good position because he's got a collection of guys around him. Unfortunately, we're seeing Seth Groover have to dive back into the pits because he ended up having an issue coming off of pit road, got an unsafe exit, which means he's got to serve a penalty, which is probably going to take him out of the running unless we have a caution here. But,
Seth, do better, man.
But you look at somebody like Guile Brooks, who's just barely too slow right now to be able to hang on to these guys, and I mean, it's close, but just not quite there right now. He's closing, but he needs that 46 of Nick Wing to get right on his bumper to be able to close it down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he is closing it. It is getting there, but they cannot separate. Like, they've separated there. They cannot do that. Nick Wing needs to stay on his bumper so they can get this back. And, hey, I just want to point out Austin Call back here just behind these guys just set the fastest lap of the race. So if he can get up there and push, these guys might be all right.
Well, and they're within striking distance. The next group person that's just barely too far off is Ryan Decker running in 10th. He's that just over a second.
Yeah, just over a second. Also has no one around him, and that's tough. You hate seeing that because obviously someone led some laps, but the closest person to him is 9 seconds behind him, and he is just outside of that 1 second gap behind Gary Jenkins. Oh, he is actually closing it a little bit, it looked like right there. I don't think he'll be able to get it.
No, he is closing, and honestly, he's under a second at this point. But also, if I am Gary Jenkins there, I'm going to go ahead and drop back just a little bit, maybe take be about 2/10 behind the person in front of me just to try to bring him along, because the more people I have to fight with, the better chance I have of getting these guys in the long run.
Yeah, it's complicated because, Gary Jenkins has obviously caught up to this draft. So on the one hand, it's like, well, I kind of just want to, if I can pull away, keep someone like Ryan Decker out of this, that's one less person that could potentially finish ahead of me. But on the other hand, you get someone in the mix that isn't a Putnaka teammate, and suddenly it's like everything's opened up for a lot of these guys. But of course, Gary Jenkins is one of the Putnaka guys. I keep forgetting how many guys are on the team. Yeah, Ryan Decker has caught this field. So it is right now top 10 together, and then a big gap back to 11.
Well, but once you get back to 11th, James Mohan, Bob Fitzgerald, Taylor Reeves, they're all together to where, unfortunately, this front group is single file, which is going to make it difficult to catch. But those four, with the proper motivation and lining up everybody in perfect sync, they could close this down.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I'm going to disagree with you there. 25 laps to go, 11 seconds back, and unless the front starts battling, getting 2-3 wide in a hurry, they're not going to catch them. Best thing they can do is just try to keep their race clean and be in position if something crazy happens up front, in my opinion.
Well, but you're also forgetting the one wild card that we still have. We've got another round of pit stops.
That's true. But we can see already that 11th place dropped back another second. They've got to keep it clean. They've got to keep it clean and be prepared, be in position to take advantage of mistakes.
And hope that this group in front doesn't keep it clean. But
yeah, I can almost put money on it. These top 10, these are all guys, half of them are teammates, but these are guys that are experienced. They're going to probably stay lined up until pit stops. They know what the deal is. You stay lined up. A super speedway race, anyone can win it. Anyone in the field can potentially win it. You stay lined up, and this becomes a race of 10 people. You've eliminated half the field if you just stay lined up here and then have good pit stops.
We will have to wait and see what goes on here. As we see that 90 of Gary Jenkins, he's going to go ahead and pop out there. See what he can do.
Just a little peek-see poo. We'll have to see. I'm trying to do the math here. So we pitted last. Leaders pitted last at 42.
65.
Yeah, so that puts us at lap 65 with 10 to go. I have a feeling they might come in a little earlier. Because I would imagine what's going to happen is the boot knocker guys are going to want to come in when no one else comes in, so they can get their good, clean stop that they're known for, come out together, and really screw up the rest of the race, the rest of the race for everyone else.
Well, they're going to be the first ones to come in because they want to trigger everyone else.
Yeah, and I think
it's going to be that simple.
But I have to think. If you're someone out here who's seen these guys do this over and over and over, and you know for a fact that they are going to almost certainly beat you on pit road because that's what they do. They practice this. They're so good at pit road. I'm going to do something different. I'm either going to come earlier than them with a group, hopefully, or I'm going to go later and just try to push it and hope for a caution.
I am of the mindset, and it's probably from racing with you so much, I'm going to go as long as I can. I'm going to make that tank run dry. That way, again, somebody screws up on pit road. We've seen strange things, people looping it the second that they can get up to full speed and it bringing out a yellow flag.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
All it takes is something like that.
And what the boot knocker guys have done, since I've been broadcasting this season, it's been incredibly impressive what they're capable of doing time and time again. The only time we see really anyone in contention for these races is if we are in a situation where there's a late caution. If we have green flag stops, they dominate. This is the first time I've ever seen with those guys a green flag stop, and here they come. Here they are.
That's pretty much the second the fuel window is open.
And a lot of guys there. Kevin Freese, Duke Conrad, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, Austin Call, Gary Jenkins, Ryan Decker.
That is one more than Kyle Brooks and Nick Wing wanted to see.
Yeah, that's really bad for Gael and Nick. They need to come next time. I do not think they can stay out. They have no one around them. They've got a lap car, I think, right there with them. But, man, they are in a tough spot right now.
That is definitely a rough one.
Here they come. Yeah,
perfect call for them.
That's not a surprise. You've got to stop the bleeding in this kind of situation because and just hope that you can have a decent stop, get out right behind those guys, and still hopefully have a sniff of the draft, or else you're out of contention in this thing.
Well, and coming out of the pits, Kevin Freese was right on the bumper of Dean Wilkinson. like to the point to where I was afraid.
Yeah, I'm going back and looking here. Yeah, I mean, Austin Call, Ryan Decker. I mean, there are guys that aren't Bootnaka in contention for this. Although Ryan Decker, he's flirting with it. He's flirting with losing the draft. We're going to keep an eye on that. Yeah, he gained a good bit there, so that's going to help him. So I think Ryan Decker's going to be okay. But, you know, it's interesting. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen since calling these races, green flag stops and guys other than Bootnaka being in contention.
Well, and right now, Gael Brooks, both he and the 90 of Gary Jenkins, just they were so close to being able to keep on to it. And they're just over a second right now. They're kind of holding on. If Ryan Decker can get himself just that little bit closer,
yeah,
he's going to be able to hang on here. But it's going to be a little bit rough. It looks like he may have just enough of the draft to be able to hang on.
Yeah, I think Gael's going to be okay, and that'll help Ryan Decker there.
And I think Nick Wing also is got just enough of the draft to be able to hang on. At least I'm hoping, because that would be amazing if we could have this many people coming to the checkered flag in one group.
Well, I think Bootnaka might disagree with you. I think, based on what I've seen, you know, obviously they'd probably be pretty happy with just them lined up at the front. It's worked for them over and over. But hey, I feel a little bad here. I haven't mentioned our leader here. Tom Dixon in the lead right now, has not pitted, but in that 411 car, Taylor Reeves right behind him, Bob Fitzgerald, Larry Fairman he's a little bit further back, but has not pitted either. So those guys, your top four, have not pitted, and then Kevin Freese in fifth.
Well, but Kevin Freese is right there closing in fast on Larry Fairman. And yeah, he slides himself up.
Did Larry pit? No, Larry didn't pit. He's went high. Okay. Yeah, Larry needs a good finish here, so I think, you know, maybe he's being a little conservative.
But he's also currently running with the leaders who have already hit.
Yes. Yep. And obviously still needs a pit stop himself. So that's, you know, not ideal. So she'll have to come by himself.
But also, Larry, being where he was actually a godsend for Nick Wing. Being able to get himself caught back up to this lead pack, where again, we're going to have a nice sized group here coming to the checkered flag, where there are going to be 9 people in contention.
Well, you say 9 people.
As long as they don't hurt themselves.
Well, I was about to say 9 people in contention, but we still got 16 laps to go. We could have the entire field in contention before this thing's all said and done, if these guys can't keep it green.
Well, I mean, we've had our single caution tonight, and honestly, these guys showing the level of skill that they have. But I don't think the wrecking's over. I'm not going to say caution, because it's Talladega. There's going to be a wreck coming to the checkered flag.
Well, I was about to say, I mean, if we stay green and these guys stay together like this, we're going to have a wreck to finish this race. It's almost guaranteed. Guys are going to go for it. It's one of those things. It's sort of like the treat at the end. Like the guys are, you know, being very patient, lining up, waiting for their moment. So of course they're not just going to sit there and wait at the end. They're going to go for it. So we'll have to see. I'll tell you what, if they can stay lined up like this, I think we're going to have a wild finish. And I am honestly keeping my eyes on Ryan Decker, who is in contention here, is in this pack, has shown the ability to run up front here, and he's who I'm keeping my eye on.
Well, and here's the one thing that, again, we were talking about it right before they came in. just go a little bit off the wall, make everyone react to you. But there's a small part of me that concerned that these Bootnaka guys may have come in just a little bit too early.
Well, I think if that were the case, I'm not sure if Kevin Freese would be the one leading. You know, with as clear as they are on, like, you know, working together as a team, I think if they were worried about fuel mileage, I think it was Gabe Butler up front, who was solid in the points. The fact that Kevin Freese is leading this group, I think they were going to be okay on fuel.
I don't think it's necessarily that they're going to be having issues with fuel. I'm more thinking, if things do get dicey, we have a caution. Are they well, if we end up with a green-white checker, will they have enough to survive a single green-white checker? Because they came in lap 54, been running hard since, and we were told roughly 23 laps on a tank.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm back up here with the lead group. Tom Dixon, Taylor Reeves, Bob Fitzgerald. This top three running together. I think they've also got Mr. Jim Brooks here right there close in tow. Good to see him back with us. So yeah, I these guys have to be coming to pit relatively soon. I would think in the next 3 laps or so.
But is there a possibility that these guys are going to be in the better position if something goes wrong in the near future?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it has to go wrong very quickly. I think, you know, it has to go wrong before they pit. They've lost so much time out there with just, you know, a smaller group. I mean, we can see that you know, Kevin Freese-led group behind them, gaining on them, only 9 seconds behind, a little over 9 seconds. And these guys still have to pit.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. There's a lot of radio chatter going on right now.
Oh, here they come. Oh, 42 past the 411. There is no way he was.
I mean, that... Yeah, I'm not allowed to comment on that. I'm just not.
The 42 of Taylor Reeves there was looking like how I am when I pass a cop on the highway, and it's like all of a sudden like, oh, no, break. I wasn't speeding, sir. I wasn't speeding. I'm good.
Yeah, but you don't lock them up like that.
Hey, you can't say that for certain.
I'm going to assume that your truck has anti-lock brakes where you didn't lock them up like that.
So our new leader, Kevin Freese, oh, and we are 2 wide now. They waited for those guys to pit, and Austin Call, we've seen this over and over. Austin Call is ready to go. He's getting up there. He's got the 55, Dean Wilkinson, Gael Brooks behind him. Ryan Decker up there as well. So we'll see what these guys will be able to mount some competition here.
Well, and it's funny you say that because it's almost perfectly divided between Bootnaka, not Bootnaka.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And honestly, like I don't want to take anything away from Bootnaka because what they've done is absolutely incredible. He's Kevin Freese jump up to the top, but not able to quite clear him as now Kevin Freese stuck in the middle.
No, what these guys do on a weekly basis is absolutely insane. The skill, the quality. But right now, this is getting way too dicey for lap 66.
Yeah, no, they're
the last 5 laps, maybe. It's just barely a few laps too early.
Honestly, these guys can handle 3 wide, not a problem. Honestly, I believe that. When they start going 4 wide, that's when you know that the temperature has gone up.
It's more just how close they were.
Yeah.
I don't trust the netcode gods in iRacing well enough to be willing to do that at this point.
That's fair. But Dega is the one track, you know, you can push on someone turns a wide enough radius that you're probably okay.
I mean, I've been pushed in the middle of turns here multiple times. I mean, you have the same teammates that I do that think it's just an absolute blast to see how far they can push until they murdered.
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to what we were saying earlier before it went a little crazy there is what Boondock has done is incredible. But if you're someone else in the field, you have to be thinking, I will make any allies I can to keep them from winning. Because if they don't win, sure, you might push someone else to a win that's not your teammate. But as long as they aren't the ones winning, you've got a chance to win. If they're the ones winning, you don't have a chance to win.
I mean, why do you think I've pushed Matt Wagner to as much as I have?
Well, it's because you know that he won't finish well otherwise. Oh, sorry, he still doesn't finish well.
Or he could just sit there and call you a nerd the entire time.
Yeah, I really hope Matt listens to this, or is listening now, because
he's running the IRO1.
Yeah, I know Matt is desperate for a super speedway win, so I enjoy giving him crap about it.
Yeah, I know. But these guys, we are on lap 69. We've got ourselves to the point of double file.
Nice.
And I'm glad you took that bait. But we have reached that point that these guys, we're going to start seeing the third line more and more often. These guys are going to try to get themselves to the front. They don't want to be at the front. They just want to be like in the front 4, maybe 5.
I'll be honest, if I had someone good pushing me, with the way how good this top group is, if I had someone good pushing me, I'd be okay with being in the front, even at this point. But I need someone good pushing me. Austin Call, I feel great right now.
With Ryan Decker behind you, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, Austin Call has Gabe Butler behind him right now.
Oh, I thought... Oh, no, I'm backwards.
Gabe Butler, one of the best at super speedways. I'd feel pretty good. And honestly, I'm pulling up the schedule here. Okay, so we have not had a repeat winner yet, but Austin Call has won one race. Gabe Butler's won one. Kevin Freese has not won one this season. I don't think Ryan Decker's won one either. Ryan Decker is not. So some guys up here that could potentially keep this streak alive of no repeat winners as we've got 5 to go.
I mean, that would be fantastic. I appreciate it. That's why I loved last year's NASCAR season. I was hopeful that the playoffs went in to where nobody got the auto qual, or everyone that won went in, and somebody that won didn't make it.
Yeah,
in.
No, I'm right.
I wanted that so badly.
Well, we'll see what these guys are able to do, because Gabe Butler there making the move up front in front of his teammate. Shouldn't be surprised about that as we see Dude Conrad trying to get up there behind Austin Call. But I imagine Dude's going to try to jump up as well. Oh, my goodness, the push that Kevin Freese is giving Gabe Butler.
Well, and there goes Gabe down as we see the Dean Wilkinson and Kyle Brooks trying to get themselves moving on that outside line, get both of them in front of Kevin Freese. And we are on lap 72, and now is the time I'm expecting chaos.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to start going now. I mean, they are clearly setting things up. You are in the position now where you are trying to put yourself where you want to be on the last couple laps. You're not trying on
a group of lap traffic.
Oh, group of lap traffic. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, you're not trying to get right now to where you want to finish the race. That would be the front, and you may not want that right now. But you are trying to set yourself up for the next couple laps. We've got 3 to go.
But this is where things start to get a little bit sketchy, as these guys are going to try to... Well, they're fighting with one another. They are going to just go ahead and slide up high. Well, most of them, it looks like we've got one person that's just not paying attention. This could get
Really ugly.
As there we go. That's Jim Brooks. He gets himself up to the top there. He's trying to give a little bit of an extra draft to Austin Call right there. But he gets himself up out of the way, and that's actually going to make it to where there's even more cars here, as we've got 2 laps to go and a whole lot of tires in one space. That, yeah, this. Keep it white, guys. Got a half a lap.
Yeah, I am really curious to see how this will play out, because obviously that middle line right now, Gabe Butler looks like he is in position. Oh, we got someone going around. 17 car going around.
That is
no caution currently.
No caution.
Wow.
There was no one close enough to be able to get that to bring out the yellow.
That's actually very surprising, but I'm happy to see it. Let's stay green. Let's go, boys.
As right now, Dean Wilkinson leads us across the line for the white flag. But Gabe Butler has his teammate and Kevin Freese right there behind him. And this is going to get spicy. Gael Brooks trying to give the monster push to the 55. I don't know where this is going to end up.
I could not tell you right now, as these guys are lined up. Obviously, that outside line you would think would have the advantage on the corner exit, but it just really depends on the push you're getting. Gael Brooks giving all the push he can right now, but Dude Conrad giving a hell of a push to Kevin Freese.
But these guys just going to go toe-to-toe as we are going to get this nice long run. And Dean Wilkinson pulls it off.
Dean Wilkinson, your winner. Wow. What a finish. And that is another first-time winner this season. Wow. 8 races, 8 different winners.
Kevin Freese taking second, Gael Brooks in third. Gael Brooks taking that final step on the podium. Probably more than happy to get Dean that win. And wow, I was speechless watching.
I don't know about you. My heart is racing right now. That was crazy.
There were no words that could come out as this. I also love this celebration.
Yeah, go in the grass. Why not, man? Let's do it. Waiting to get our final results here so I can pull them up. They've still not clicked in, unfortunately. I think we're maybe waiting for some people still to come around. I'm not sure. But yeah, Dean Wilkinson, your winner. Yeah, still not letting me pull up the results. Oh, there we go. Okay. Your winner, Dean Wilkinson. And in second, Kevin Freese. Third is Gael Brooks. And in fourth, Dude Conrad. In fifth, Gabe Butler. And in sixth, Nick Wing. Seventh, Austin Call. And in eighth, Ryan Decker. Ninth, Eric Laurie. And in 10th, Tom Dixon. 11th, Bob Fitzgerald. And 12th, Taylor Reeves. 13th, Brandon Briggs. And in 14th, Gary Jenkins. 15th, Jim Brooks. And in 16th, Larry Fairman. 17th is Seth Gruber, and in 18th, Frank Ranger Jr. 19th, William Bogart, and in 20th, James Mohan. And in 21st, Mark Emery. Okay, well, oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to our race here. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and pull up Mr. Gael Brooks. I will grab him here. Where is Gael? Man, how you gonna do this to us, Gael?
The one that sits there and tries to make sure that everybody's in Discord.
Yeah.
Everybody's available to talk to.
All right, well,
give me a second. I don't remember which button it is.
We'll wait for Gael to get pulled up here. Hopefully.
Wrong button. We'll see if I actually have the ability to talk into the chat.
Well, in the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to pull up Kevin Freese here, our second place finisher. Hey, Kevin, it's Carl and Josh in the booth. Get a copy?
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
Hey, probably not as good as you are right now. How's it feel with that crazy finish there?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was getting a little nervous when we were catching that lap traffic there because it looked like I couldn't see anything except for in the corners. I would see that they were still too wide, so I was like, "Oh, I really hope this doesn't ruin a good finish that we're about to have." But yeah, it was a fun race tonight. Able to stay out of any trouble. The one wreck was right in front of me, but luckily was able to dive to the inside wall to avoid it.
So,
No,
we've
it
seen.
was.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say it was a great race from you guys. I was really curious. You guys went in a little bit early to where if that wreck that happened towards the last 5 laps, would you have had the gas for a green white checkered with how early?
Maybe. If it happened, I think that was coming to white flag because I heard somebody said no caution. If it came out at that point, we probably would have been. It would have been tough, really tough. Because once I saw the field was all spread out when we were discussing when we were going to come into pit. Typically, once the field gets spread out like that, you get those clean finishes all the way with no caution. So I'm like, hey, do we want to roll the dice and just go in like one lap after we can make it? And everybody seemed to be on board with that. So we went with that as our strategy. But if there was a green white checker, it would have been tough. But I think just about everybody in the field was on very similar strategy. There were only a couple of people who weren't on our strategy. So we all basically would have been on pit road.
So we've seen time and time again this season with you and your teammates. You guys come in the pit during green flag, and then all of a sudden you pull off, and it's just you guys there together. But that didn't happen this time with that final pit stop. There was a large group that kind of stuck together. Was there anything different that happened there, or is it just just kind of the circumstances? Everybody had good pit stops and moved on.
Yeah, where we actually beat people is coming off pit road, and we just work really hard to get nose to tail just lined up so you were all pushing one another. But then with the way that the Xfinity car drafts, you just get so hot, so it's really hard to keep separation. Like the bottom line is absolutely horrible once you get hot because there's nowhere for you to go to get clean air to take a break. You don't have the momentum off the corner like the middle line does, where you can just. I know when I was pushing Gabe there, except for on the white flag lap, I was trying to save some temperature and use our momentum, but whoever was behind me was just like pushing me, trying to look outside me, but there wasn't enough room really for that. So I tried to have that advantage so I could push all the way through, but then Gabe took the run to the bottom when Ryan went inside me. But it's just when we were clearing those pit stops, we just weren't able to, with the amount everybody was taking, it wasn't leaving it so that you had the option of a full tank or a partial tank, because I think that's how we broke from some of the people is our pit stop. We decided to do two shorter stops, and that's sometimes where we'll make our separation. But in this car, it's just really tough.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we let you go here, do you have any shout outs or anything to give out?
Yeah, I gotta thank all the boys on Team Butanaka. Even had the exceptional spotter Brian Wang, who jumped in mid race to talk to us. That was a nice addition. But gotta thank dude Eric, Gabe, and Gary tonight. It was a great run. Came just short of the win, but we had numbers stacked up against us on the outside late. Dude, I know did everything he could there, and I appreciate it from them. And shout out to the drivers for that clean race there at the end, and congratulations to Dean and Gael for their great finishes tonight.
Well, and Kevin, before I let you go, I did just want to let you know, looking at the points, it looks like you did make the top 12, so you will be advancing on to the chase. So congratulations for that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I knew it would be pretty close. I tried to start in the back, do everything I could so that I could have a shot at a max points night. So that's awesome to hear.
Great. Well, we'll send you back down to your team. Great run. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast.
All right, that was Kevin Freese, and let's go ahead and bring up our third place, Gael Brooks here. Hey, Gael, thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go first. It's been a while since I've done interviews, so I wanted Kevin to kind of get it rolling first so I didn't embarrass myself more than usual.
But you're normally in the booth, so are you saying you embarrass yourself in the booth?
Oh, yes.
You didn't embarrass yourself tonight out on track. I mean, that was an amazing push to get Dean that win.
Oh man, that was some intense stuff. I mean, it wasn't even first. It was just getting to the pack. I mean, the boot knockers. I mean, they've got these things down to a science. So it was like they all pitted that final pit stop, and everybody that I was hanging out with tonight with Roswell, they all jumped in, and I don't know what it was, but I had a hesitation. So I was like, all right, one more lap. I got really, really lucky that I had Nicholas Wing working with me, and so he pushed me around that final lap, and then we hopped in, and then it was pretty much all we could do to kind of shove ourselves back into the draft. And I think we did it twice actually, where we had to keep up with them. So the pit stops were crucial to stay with those guys because they make it look easy, but it's far from it. And then that 2-3 wide battle at the end, a couple times I tried to hook up with Dean, and we got there, then I got hot, I had to back it down, and just the timing was honestly, like, out of 4, I started getting the warning about my water temp, and was like, well, at this point, if it pops, it pops. So I was happy to actually be able to be a good pusher for once. I feel like I'm usually that's one of my weaker abilities.
Well, you certainly pushed me one time at Martinsville and wrecked me. Sorry, I had to
We
bring
can't
that up.
tandem there.
So I did want to ask about your pit stop because you mentioned that you stayed out a little bit longer when that was happening. Were you aware that you were going to be one of 2 guys out there, or did it just happen so quickly and it's like, oh man, well I definitely should have pitted there?
Yeah, it was definitely a no crap moment for sure, because we'd all talked about it, and it was like, okay, if the boot knockers jump, we got to go with them. And it just I'm too old. I guess my reflexes are a little slower than what they should be now. But yeah, I felt like it was gonna be too risky to try to jump in there real abruptly with them. A lot of times I do like to go the extra lap and then jump in just by habit. And I think maybe my brain was kind of defaulting to that. So like I said, if I was just me, I was toast. So luckily, I had Nick there, because he definitely saved me for sure to be able to even hold on to the draft again afterwards.
Well, I have to ask you there at the end of the race, obviously pushing Dean there, beautiful push, but did it cross your mind to go 4 wide, or do you just think that there's no way that was going to work and you're just going to kind of committed to pushing?
Yeah, I was pretty much committed. I would have loved to try it, but I knew as soon as I made any sort of move, it would probably kill all of our momentum. And with this being the regular season finale, I knew there was a lot on the line too. Like, I mean, there's no like overall or regular season champion or anything like that. But I knew people were looking at the points and bonus points going a long ways. I mean, I think the top 12 are going to be pretty tight on the points. I got to look at that closer after we do this, but I definitely did consider it. It felt like one of those kind of, it could have worked, but I feel like I just wouldn't have had the time, and I think probably I would have been the one with egg on my face causing a big one most likely. So I'm just happy I was able to lock on with Dean as well as I did, and be able to push him. I was more honestly, I was like as excited pushing Dean to the win as I was if I would get my own win, just because like I know like I played a role in his victory. So that was really, really cool. I mean, Dean's one of the original guys here, and so been able to race with him, broadcast some of his race or when he's racing and all that. So like it's kind of fun when you get to go kind of full circle and be able to actually push one of those guys as well. So I honestly third, I'm as happy as I would be probably honestly getting the win too.
Well, before we let you go, you got any shout outs or anything else you want to say?
Well, I mean, got to thank you guys, obviously, and obviously everybody watching too. I know we had a couple weeks off, so hopefully everybody had a happy and safe Fourth. Always really appreciate you guys with all the time that you put in these broadcasts. I know how much fun you guys have doing it. And it shows too, and that's what makes it so much fun for me. And I think everybody that do get to watch these things. Of course, all the racers as well. They do a ton to basically put on these races and put on a good show. So I really love them coming in, week out, and was fun race with my dad again. It's been a little while, so I'm very, very happy to be able to share the track. Race didn't go as well as we were hoping for him, but we got 4 more races to make that happen. And then just I'll say I'm totally Twitch famous now. I had people chatting, so I gotta thank Gable's Tables and Peter DeBorgia and Mr. Wang, Mr. Muff, and of course my fuel man Hondo, who couldn't race tonight, but he did a good job, made sure I had enough fuel to get to the end. So I got some good guys all around me. So yeah, it was a fun one tonight.
I mean, just before we move you, I have one question. Did you hit a wall on your own?
I did not hit a wall. I believe I was 0x, and I don't think there's any 0x on the walls. I think the only 0x's I got was from shoving the crap out of Dean. So I did good tonight.
That's the only question I have. And at that point, I will see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's get some open wheel going.
Yeah, we can talk about that though.
Well, we can call them open wheels. Open wheel. We
can
call them open wheel.
Mystery car.
We will both try to outbrake one another and then go into a wall.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got to keep out of the kitty litter.
All right,
they paved over most of it.
And enjoy the remainder of your evening, sir.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys so much.
Yep. Thanks, bud. All right, that was Gael Brooks. And now, without further ado, let's pull up our winner, Dean Wilkinson. Hey, Dean, Josh and Carl in the booth. Got a copy?
Well, I mean, this is, you got to close out the regular season with being the eighth winner in 8 races.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good win, and I really thank Guile for that. That was a good push on his part. It's tough to beat those boot knockers.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that because as you mentioned, it is tough to beat those guys. And I was saying that it seemed like the rest of the field kind of needed to work together to beat them. But you guys were you were sitting up front on that outside line as we came to the white flag. Being up front there with 1 to go, is that about where you wanted to be, or were you like, oh man, I'm just a sitting duck right now?
No, that's exactly where I wanted to be, because I know the two bottom lines were going to be covered by those guys, and they were going to do their best to keep those lines occupied. So at one point I thought they were going to take all 3 lines, but they didn't. And yeah, that high line, the middle and the high line are the fastest lines, I think. And when you got a good pusher, that high line, obviously, there you go. It gets it done.
Yeah, that's completely. I mean, that's completely fair. But I'm wondering though if at no point I don't think on that last lap did you ever clear Gabe. But if you had, would you have considered dropping down in front of him, taking that middle line, or were you pretty solid staying in front of Gael there?
No, I'm solid staying there. If I get in front of Gabe, I think I don't know. I was comfortable staying in the high line.
There's a lot to be said for just, you know what? I'm going to stay with the guy that got me here, because it's symbiotic to where you're faster because of him and he's faster because of you. And look, you guys got the win in 3rd.
Yeah, right on. Oh, he got 3rd. I didn't see the standings. Well, good for him. He deserves that.
Yeah, well, so I've got to ask you. Currently, I believe probably say these points are unofficial at this point, but you're sitting second, tied for second in the points after this race. Had a very I don't want to say quiet and uneventful, but it kind of has been quiet and uneventful in a good way. You've had good finishes to races, 5 top 10s. Going forward, we've got 4 races to go in the season. How are you going to approach it? Are you going to treat it like you did the regular season, or are you going to be, change up your aggression level?
No, I'm going to keep it the same. I mean, I get a little aggressive sometimes just to have some fun, and then if it gets too crazy up in the front, I'll work my way back to the back and just kind of feel out the crowd. And tonight I didn't have any partners. I was by myself, so I kind of had to watch other drivers and see who I could run with. I got together with Seth there, and I appreciate his help for a little bit, because without him, I would have lost that pack coming out of the pits when we fueled up. Those boot knockers passed us, and we're getting away. Yeah, no, it's pretty much gonna be the same.
So you said you didn't have any teammates here with you tonight. And I've been in that situation before as well in super speedways. And I'm wondering if you feel the same as I do, but do you feel in some ways that sort of makes it easier sometimes because you're sort of able to make your own decisions, or were you really wishing you had a teammate there prior to the finish?
With super speedway, it is nice to have at least one partner. So in this instance, Gail helped me out, so he was my temporary partner, I guess. But no, I mean, you got five boot knockers. I mean, they're blocking not blocking, but they've got the bottom lanes. You're by yourself. It's unless you have somebody, it can be tough to get up there. So, but you're right too. You got five cars in a team. Sometimes you feel obligated. You got to be third in line, or so sometimes it is nice to be by yourself and you can make all the moves you want and not worry about having somebody behind you.
Well, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs you or anything else to say tonight?
Thank you guys for the broadcast. I'm going to go back and watch it. Always enjoyed the green, white, checkered broadcast. I appreciate all the drivers tonight. It was a good race. It was fun. Pretty clean for the most part. Actually, no, it was very clean. We only had one caution at the beginning there. I don't even know what that was about, but yeah, it was a great race, and thank you, drivers.
All right. Well, hey, great win tonight. I have a feeling there's a decent chance we'll be talking to you again in the next few weeks. But enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right. Well, that will wrap it up for us tonight. Any closing thoughts, Josh Laston?
You know what? Just a great race. I'm glad that despite the fact that we had a lot of green flag stops, we still had a lot of action. And looking forward to watching the playoffs start next week.
Absolutely. Before we go, one more shout out for our sponsor, 40 Racewear. They are the makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way that no other shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stunts. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. And with that, on behalf of myself, Josh Laston, the entire Green White Checker crew, I want to say so long and thanks for watching.